That is right, Gina and Travers. Now, NOPD tells me no charges were filed, and also that student was not arrested. It's also hard to know at this time exactly what led to the altercation, but I do want to warn you that parts of this video may be disturbing to watch.
You just assaulted him, bro. Just let him up. You just assaulted him.
He was an older teacher, and I was scared because I wasn't sure how far the student was going to take it.
Courtney, who didn't want to use her last name, says she was subbing at L B Landry High School on Friday when she witnessed the most disturbing encounter of all of her years as an educator.
He never hit the student. He just kept trying to restrain him because he kept hitting him. And there was nobody really to help.
This video shows a teacher trying to restrain a student on the floor. At one point, the two get up. The student begins punching him again and again.
They tussled for at least 5 minutes. And I just sat there and captured as much as I could. And then the next thing I know, the teacher seemed like he was kind of disoriented. He fell to the floor and he was bleeding out of his head.
Courtney says she started recording because it was taking too long for someone to intervene.
I said, okay, this is not stopping, nobody's coming. Prior to all of that happening, the teacher did ask for the police, somebody to come.
Eventually, someone took the student away and NOPD was called. Courtney says she's still in shock that something more wasn't done to protect the teacher.
I can guarantee you that this is very common and probably happens pretty often, not only in this school, but many other schools across America. You know, I'm pretty sure that before this altercation, profanity, cursing at the teacher, and not just in one class, but many other classes occurs. People will turn their eye to that. Very sure blatant disobedience was occurring, and not just that day, but every other day before that. You know, after observing the video, nothing was stated to the relationship between the student and the teacher, what could have caused that, what might have led up to that. There's no information in regards to that. What I find interesting in these situations is that, you know, a student can just, you know, curse a teacher out, have blatant disobedience, and blame that all upon the fact of the student just having a bad day. You know, my dad or my mom said something to me. This kid said something to me. I broke up with my girlfriend. And oftentimes teachers are told to just understand, you know, the plight of the student. But if this was reversed and a teacher had a bad day, do you think that any grievances, do you think that any forgiveness would occur? Of course not. The teacher will be fired, reprimanded, it'll be blasted on the news, and then everyone will perpetuate this consistent lie that all teachers care about is just getting a paycheck and going home, as if no other profession cares about getting a paycheck and going home. But you should just take the abuse or get fired. That's basically the message that's sent to teachers. You know, when teachers aren't feeling well or sick or having a bad day, stressed, I wish a teacher would just, you know, take that out on a student. See what will happen. See what will happen if a teacher did that. Now notice how there was no one to help this teacher. No one. And of course you find out that there's only one officer for the district. That's so common. It's beyond common. It's almost ridiculous. So you only have one real officer, and then you have to have people that are actually trained to detain students, because if you don't, and you actually go to detain a fight or student and you harm the student, you can actually get, you know, fired, put in jail, reprimanded for de-escalating an issue, even though you're trained to de-escalate. Now, the other thing to take into account here, this was a man. Imagine this was a female teacher. Imagine that, you know, that's your mother, that's your daughter, that's your cousin, that's, you know, someone's pregnant daughter, someone's pregnant mother, someone's pregnant wife, and this student decided to have a bad day and then resort to that, irregardless of whatever verbal transaction occurred. The student felt like it's okay to do this. Never, not at one point, did I ever, going to school, think that it was okay to have a physical altercation with a teacher or my coach when I played sports. I can almost guarantee you this kid was back in school, if not the next day, nothing later than a week. I guarantee you this kid was back in school and in the same class. I'd be shocked if that same teacher is still there, though. I'd be shocked. But I haven't seen any released information on the aftermath of this incident. Another thing I was thinking about here, what if the teacher decided to fight back? I mean, the kid threw the first punch. What if the teacher decided to fight back and then knocked the kid out? What would occur here? What do you think would happen to the teacher? I'll tell you what would happen. That teacher would be going to jail. But if that student knocked the teacher out, I guarantee that back in school, maybe a week. I assess the worst thing that will ever happen to the student is maybe they go to an alternative school. The worst thing. They'll be right back in the classroom. The teacher, if they do anything like this, you are almost done as far as your profession. You're done. Someone once asked me, they were making a note of how teachers are often very strict and regimented, the good ones. Strict and regimented in how students would line up and sit down and get their pencil out, and you can only do this. And I said, man, it's almost like a prison. Yes, indeed. Because when you have to manage that many people, that many students, and then these students have various different types of behaviors, like in this video, and can have any type of random outbursts, you better be very regimented. The worst thing that you can have as a teacher is no classroom management. That is the worst thing. If a teacher does not have classroom management, the students will run the class. No learning will occur. I don't care how great of a teacher you are. If you do not have classroom management, nothing, no learning will occur. But even if you do have good classroom management, this can still occur. That's the sad truth. This can still occur. Again, at the end of the day, these are just the ramblings of a madman.